Welcome back to the PokerStrategy.com Team Liquid Star League number 3. We are here, series number 4, game number 2. Spawning in the right location, good game, good luck, is Dignitas.NaNiwa as the red Protoss. His opponent, down 0-1, Liquid Ret, spawning in the 9 o'clock as the blue Zerg.
In the last game, we did see NaNiwa utilize very good micro, not only in Blink, but also in defending those early harasses from Ret. So I think that Ret's playstyle was pretty good. He did try to go for the drop technique, but I mean, NaNiwa was just sitting in his base the whole time. And when you have Stalkers that do additional damage versus Roaches, it's just not a good formula for success. So Ret, he did go unchecked that game. It is going to be much more difficult, I think, for him to sit back on this map, just because it's much more wide open and overall a smaller map for NaNiwa to harass and attack different locations. So I don't know that we will be seeing a double expand again from Ret like we saw in the last game, as that kind of build is basically better on large maps like Tal'Darim Altar. And so I'm curious to see, though. Ret did play well. It's just that NaNiwa reacted perfectly in every situation, and so I think Ret's going to have to be a little less stubborn in this game and try and figure out something new.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we'll see that double expand. Metalopolis, not all that great. It is viable, but not that great for the Forge Fast expand, and we see NaNiwa knowing that, putting down the standard 13 gateway. And you really only want to double expand against that Forge Fast gateway, as there's no potential of early attacks. You can see NaNiwa being annoying with his probe, doing a little sticking and jiving there as the drone tries to place the expansion. Let's see how stubborn Ret gets. And what? Making a hatchery in the front. That's crazy.
Yeah, he probably just doesn't want to even deal with this probe that's going to be delaying that, and realizes that there could be a potential for a pylon there. So definitely putting that hatchery in an extremely peculiar place. I think it could even be a little bit closer there and still just be offset a little bit. The probe's like, okay, well, I did my job. I guess I'll just sit here and spin in a circle. Now, the spawning pool timing is going to be standard here. I'm curious to see how Ret follows this up. Is he really going to go for 3 hatcheries on just the 2 base here, or is he going to... I don't even know what else he could do at that point.
He has to, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so. If he wants to expand at all, he will have to get that 3rd expansion. It's just, maybe this was his build he had in mind already, was to get out a 3rd hatchery extremely quickly, and so this isn't actually delaying him that much. But that's definitely unorthodox for him to not even deal with the probe, because a lot of times he can just bring down 2 drones, and that does it just fine. So definitely we'll have to see how this follows up, but it's very peculiar.
Yeah, and the one thing I don't like here is Ret has essentially shown his hand. If you send in a scouting probe and you block the hatchery, he's forced to make a spawning pool, he takes his natural, well then you know he's got probably a gas, he's got a spawning pool, he's got 2 hatcheries. Whereas now NaNiwa knows Ret is going to be killing this probe, and then he's going to have 3 quick hatcheries. And if he does any sort of tech-based attack, it's probably going to be really strong. But it looks like he's not doing that, instead chrono boosting out Warp Gate and trying to make a sentry. I would have liked to see this followed up with the Stargate to deal with it. But it looks like Ret, he's finally getting Zerglings out. I'm really surprised how much this has been delayed, and now putting down the 3rd hatchery. I don't really like this, Husky.
Yeah, I don't think that was the best follow-up at all. NaNiwa does have his double gas now, basically saying, okay, well, you're going to be sitting on your base for a while. I'm going to start teching up like crazy. So we will have to see what he follows this up with as far as tech structures go, as any moment he can either throw down a tech structure or expand, and he's going to, I guess, get out 2 gateways right now. So that is going to be what's on the way there, which he's going to have a lot of additional gas here. So maybe he's just going to go for a lot of sentries or something like that. And for some reason, he actually had a pylon that he canceled. I don't think he meant to do that, because now he could potentially be supply blocked, and it's going to force him not to make as many use there. So I don't know why he canceled that. Maybe I missed something, but he put the pylon down in the exact same place. And look at this big surprise. Ret going for 8 drones right now, wants to catch up for having that hatchery built so lately, or so, that's the wrong word to use, but basically building it much later than he would like. And so we'll see how he follows up. This is a very peculiar game, I would say. Yeah,
NaNiwa is responding to Ret's strange build by going for the standard 3-gate sentry expand, which I'm not sure I like. Ret's build is wild enough that I feel like it's vulnerable to being punished, but it looks like NaNiwa doesn't want to do that. He's solid, you know, he trusts his mechanics, so he's just going to do the standard play. He's going to drop his pylon, clean out the Zerglings, and then drop that natural Nexus. There goes the Nexus right now. I mean, you can't fault the guy. I think there was a potential for something kind of crazy and aggressive, but if that's not your style and you trust in your mechanics, then hey, do what works. And we can see Ret's doing what works, because he's got a drone heading to 12 o'clock, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah, grabbing a third base already. We're 6 minutes into a game, and he already has 4 hatcheries. I'm going to just keep an eye on the production tab and giggle a little bit every time he makes a drone. He's just going to be droning up. He already has 40 drones, which is 11 more than his opponent, and this is super early in the game. So, I mean, he's definitely sticking to that style of play that he likes, and NaNiwa deciding to get his own expansion, but unfortunately for him, the expansion timing of Ret is so good that Ret is once again going to be an expansion ahead, which is exactly what you want as Zerg. And so NaNiwa's expansion does seem a little bit delayed here. We'll see if it pays off, though. It's just that NaNiwa's going to have so much gas. You can see he already has 6 sentries, which is 600 gas alone, just on that. So he should be safe against any sort of attack just because there's so many force fields. And so I think this is going to transition into more of a macro style, simply because, I mean, both players are just expanding like crazy and not getting a huge army.
Yeah, I mean, NaNiwa's style is safe against standard Zerg, but, you know, Red is not playing standard Zerg, and I could understand it if NaNiwa wasn't aware of what was going on, but he's fully aware, as you know, his probe was the cause of what happened with these 3 hatcheries at the natural. So he should know. I mean, I'm having flashbacks to last game where I said this exact thing, but he should know sitting back is not what he wants to do against this style, because if he sits back, Red is going to make a million billion drones. I'm bringing up the income tab to see how many he has. He has 50 already, and a third base just completing now. So that's not something you want to be fighting again. But we have to remember what happened last game, where NaNiwa sat back, defended his 3 bases, and then, you know, steamrolled through Ret. So that could repeat itself here in game number 2.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to the unit combination that Ret decides to get, because last time he got stuck on roaches for so long that when there was like 5 immortals, he was like, oh, maybe I should get some hydras or something else. And so if he can have slightly better decision making then, I think he'll press the economic advantage that he had in this game, and also he had it in last game, but he didn't quite utilize it effectively. So just keeping an eye on the production tab, he does have more Overlord upgrades on the way again, could potentially go for that Overlord drop. The map Metalopolis does have a lot of surface area that you can drop on,
right.
A lot of cliffs and stuff like that. So that's something we could see utilized. We've seen Moon use that time and time again, especially in the IEM. He had great success with dropping a Protoss with Hydras. But we do have a Spire on the way right now for Ret, and also the missile attack. So he's just macroing up like crazy. He was still even making drones there as of a couple of seconds ago. 64 drones at 10 minutes into a game to me is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now putting down the Spire, he's got the Evolution Chamber on the way, getting Zerg missile attacks. Roach Warren is researching, I'm going to call it Roach Speed, because that name is just silly. And putting out a lot of Zerglings and Roaches just to give himself a little bit of map control, beginning the creep spread. Does not have Ventral Sacks being researched, but he has completed Overlord Speed. That's one Overlord getting caught by a bunch of Stalkers moving forward. NaNiwa is on 3 Warp Gates and 1 Robo, and that's it. Not adding anything more, just continuing with this amount of units. He's beginning a Twilight Council, adding on 2 more gateways, and again taking a defensive posture, pushing forward just a little bit, and then pulling back, now looking to take his 3rd base. I think Red is going to see this with his Zergling and take a 4th base. No, he's not going to see it. He's going to take a 4th base, then see it with the Zergling. This guy's crazy.
Yeah, the Overlord's seeing exactly what's going on. He saw the Twilight Council, saw the 2 gateways, and this Overlord may actually even survive. So Red could not have better intel in this game, and it's really going to be a lot of pressure on NaNiwa in this one, because if you look at the supply counts, 95 to 136, and yes, I do know a lot of that is drones, but that's a very difficult place to come from this early as a Protoss player. I mean, last game, he was using his units perfectly to defend a harass, but now Ret is not donating those units, and thus means that his army is much more powerful, and he's in a much better spot. So, I mean, he's already about 50 supply behind his opponent, while Ret is taking that 4th base right now. So it's going to be a really tough for him, I think, especially given his tech choice. He's actually tech switching into DTs. I think it's maybe a little bit of a desperation move to try and punish Ret for having so many drones all over the place.
Yeah, he's also researching Blink, and he's really taking his time taking the 3rd base. NaNiwa now dropping that Nexus finally. He's got a Zealot at 12 o'clock, going to move in and try to deal with the Spore Crawler and Spine Crawler that are going up. Continuing to research Blink, now making Immortals. I don't like this. Ret
and there's also Hive Tech on the way for Ret.
Yeah, he's also getting Ventral Sack, so he's going to be able to drop as well, and he's also getting 13 drones. Crazy.
Oh, Ret, how I love watching him. Yeah, he basically has like everything in the book as far as tech goes, so he can switch as quickly as he wants. And there is a lot of roaches now in the center of the field. It looks like Zergling's spreading out in the bottom to see if there's any, 4th and 5th base down there, but there is not. And so NaNiwa is going to really have no idea what's going to be heading his way, because Ret can continually tech switch now, especially since he has, the Overlord speed drop now just completing. This could be very devastating, especially if he counterattacks while dropping inside the main base. Sniping, was that a random immortal? I just caught the death of it there in the center. Don't know what that was doing. Maybe a bad rally point, though. So if a game could go in Ret's favor, I mean, this is exactly the kind of pace of game that he would be looking for.
Yeah, Templar Archives has completed. That is for High Templar. It looks like he canceled the Dark Shrine, not favoring the Dark Templar. Wise choice there. I was going to say, oh, you researched Kydarian Amulet very quickly, but no, that doesn't exist anymore. So Ret, is he almost max? He's at 160. He's taking the gold base. He's loading up. NaNiwa has been so good at defending drops. I feel like a fake drop would actually be prudent in this situation. Like, just moving in a bunch of overlords, faking to drop, and then attacking somewhere else. But it looks like Ret is going to favor the actual drop. Moving forward, Stalkers blink forward, picking up 1, 2, 3 overlords filled with roaches, and that sucks.
That does indeed suck, and unfortunately for Ret, he did not scout ahead to see exactly what was there, and luckily for NaNiwa, every single overlord he sniped was completely packed with either Zerglings or roaches, so a lot of free kills there. Just looking at the army size tab, that helped even it out just a little bit. It's not as devastating of a discrepancy anymore, but what is devastating is the 4 bases that Ret has fully saturated with these drones, so once Ret decides to decide on his tech, then it is going to be out of control. We do have Corruptors on the way, a Greater Spire, a Hydralisk Den, and he has 3 Evo Chambers now, all going to be upgrading those units. So he is playing as tech-heavy as it gets, and that is going to be so many Broodlords. It's going to be out of control. He does have the Crackling upgrade attack as well, which you very rarely see this early in any matchup as Zerg. So he's just getting everything, and it's going to be funny to see what his army composition is once he decides to move out, and NaNiwa is going to be scrambling to try and deal with it, because Ret can tech switch basically at the drop of a hat now.
Yeah, the production tab is really annoying me because it's blocking my view because it's so big. Red is making like a million billion different things. Now moving forward with a bunch of Stalkers, he's actually got an Archon in the mix. Surprising that he would cancel a Dark Shrine if he was just going to make... Oh, okay, if he was just going to make an Archon, but looks like he's not. He's researching Psionic Storm, and now continuing to attack. He's moving towards the real 12 o'clock now, trying to deal with that, putting down some force fields. Not the best force fields. Looks like they got a little bit queued up and jammed. And Ret, does he have Broodlords? Oh my god, he has so many Corruptors. This is insane. He's making about 8 Broodlords right now, and looks like he may just sack 12 o'clock. A lot of force fields isolating a lot of units for NaNiwa. NaNiwa is doing well to get in a good position here. Should probably kill a hatchery and realize something is coming and just get out of there. But he's killing the drones before retreating, and that could spell disaster with all these Broodlords about to finish.
I gotta hand it to NaNiwa, though. He didn't get too many Colossus or anything like that. He doesn't even have a single Colossus right now in this army, but he does have a lot of Blink Stalkers and a couple of Immortals mixed in. Now, if he blinks and snipes these Broodlords, it could be huge. I think there may be too many Broodlords, though, especially once they get the Broodlings going. They can trap those Stalkers and then allow the Roaches and Zerglings to get the surround that they need to. Although there is going to be Blink for the retreat here, but the Broodlings are actually doing a lot of damage here while these Stalkers are trying to escape. So just keeping an eye on the army size tab. It is a maxed out Ret versus an almost maxed out Protoss, but the difference is that Ret has nearly every tech that he needs. He could even get out Infestors if he wanted. I'm not sure if he has any on the field quite yet, but using that for the fungal growth, trapping those units, and that can be very frustrating for Blink Stalkers because they cannot blink out of that fungal growth. So it looks like Ret now is going to be moving in the center of the map, and he's in a really good position, even getting 2 more Broodlords here, and it looks like we may see a big battle here.
And actually, NaNiwa has killed 12 o'clock's main, so he's doing a little bit of damage with the units he has. Supplies are 196 for Ret, 195 for NaNiwa, but the army composition has to favor NaNiwa, although has to favor Ret, although NaNiwa does have Psionic Storm complete, I believe, yes, but without Kydarian Amulet, he's just warped in a bunch of High Templar. They're all at 64, 65 energy. He's got to wait just a little bit before they get energy. They're at 68. They're at 70 energy. He really needs to stall. He cannot attack before he gets Psionic Storm. Now at 73. Forced to use feedback. That's not what he wants to do. What? Did he just Psystorm himself? What is going on? This game is madness.
He absolutely did Psystorm himself, and now the battle is going to commence right here at his base, and this is just not very good for him at all. I don't know why he Psystormed himself. Obviously a misclick there, but Red's is going to be continuing reinforcing this attack now with every single unit streaming down here, taking this out, and I think that's that self-side storm will go down in history as being the most hilarious thing ever. But really, NaNiwa was not in the best shape in this game. Now, I'm surprised he was able to take out those 2 expansions, but he has nothing to deal with this plethora of, I mean, this is like a throng of Broodlords. Just look at that natural. My graphics card's probably going to catch on fire because there's just so many small units running around there. NaNiwa, there's no way he's going to be able to deal with this.
Yeah, NaNiwa really needed to tech up to Void Rays, but anyone familiar with the Broodlord TSLs has seen Liquid Tyler doing the Storm drop without Storm research, and now we've seen the opposite, where NaNiwa stalling for Storm and then storming himself by accident. But Red is clearly going to glide on to victory here. He's taking the gold base. His rally is on NaNiwa's side of the map. He's completely killed the natural base. NaNiwa doesn't have a chance as he's trying to make more gateways, but it's just completely over. Red is as rich as can be, completely maxed, just basically A-moving through NaNiwa, and this is going to go to a Game 3, Husky.
Yes, I am super stoked because now it is down to the last game of the series for sure. Was kind of worried there for a second that maybe I wouldn't get one more game with you, Chill, but we are going to move on to the last game in this best of 3. It could not be more legendary. And of course, we have to mention again, don't forget about the games tomorrow that will be casted by DJ Wheat and Day 9. And the matchups that are lined up for tomorrow are legendary. I'm pretty sure the internet is going to crash when those games happen because it's just too epic for anyone to handle, including the internet. So we are going to go on to game number 3, but really I feel like Rhett played really good this game. Even after losing those 2 expansions, he already had all of his tech. He had 800 drones and was just fine after that. I mean, I still have the replay open. He has almost 120 Zerglings at the end of this game. So, and also 3,000 minerals. So he could not have been more far ahead at the end there. And nice little comeback there in this series. So tied up 1-1. I don't think I could have asked for better matches so far overall in today's games.
Seriously, and I think Game 2 was what Game 1 should have been. I mean, similar sort of thing where Rhett macros out of control and NaNiwa just sits back and defends. But the difference was Rhett didn't continue to press the dropping style. He only did it as kind of an idea. You could go through his thinking process. He didn't research them together. He got Overlord speed, and then he got Ventral Stacks when he thought like, oh yeah, drops could be good. He's kind of weak against drops. And then he followed up with Broodlords, and Broodlords are really what sealed the deal. He didn't try to get a bunch of roaches in awkward positions, which is really sealed the deal in game number 1. So with that being said, NaNiwa does not want to have a repeat of that game. You need to be attacking Rhett before the 9-minute 90 drone mark. That's my advice if I was to go back in time and give it to NaNiwa. And we're going to see which one of these players is going to advance to take on ESC Goody right after the short commercial break, game number 3.